as I'm speaking, very shortly, the BBC will reveal the ratings for the last night's episode of Doctor Who, The Well. I'm quite sure they will be quite low. Maybe the same as last week, 153 point whatever, maybe lower. But what we've got to understand is about the BBC and Doctor Who. Doctor Who isn't just about ratings. The BBC is, publicly funded. It's not a commercial station. If this was an ITV show, boom, cancellation. Because it's all about sponsorships and advertisers, right? That's not what the BBC is about. Doctor Who can sustain very low ratings because Doctor Who makes the BBC a lot of money globally. And all the people hoping that it gets cancelled don't want you to hear this, but it's true. Physical media distribution, digital media distribution. Who shows it? They sell it to people and platforms and streaming services and broadcasters around the world. Doctor Who is still making a lot of money for the BBC. Now, obviously, with the Disney deal, Disney needs subscribers because of Doctor Who, and we'll see if that deal stays ahead. But creatively right now, Doctor Who is cooking again. Welcome to Doctor Who. On second thoughts, welcome back to Movies TV Man. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Man, and on Instagram and on Threads at Movies TV Mad X, on TikTok, Mad Mickey's World, and on Snapchat, BMouth60 Mick, your host with the most. A very warm welcome to Doctor Who on Second Thoughts. This is the video where we look back at the latest episode of Doctor Who and kind of decide, was it as good as my review said it was? Was it as bad as my review said it was? We give it a second chance. But beyond the episode, I think it's a very interesting situation with Doctor Who, because I don't think anyone thought that Doctor Who could improve creatively from last year. Now, I was quite critical of the 3 specials RTD wrote. I tagged them as the not so specials. They're not bad, they're just not a big celebration of Doctor Who, and they're middle of the road. And same with season 1 of RTD2. They're not bad episodes. Even if you dislike RTD for his political takes and some of the things, the jibes he put in to his episodes. For example, people weren't happy with taking Davros out of the wheelchair. It mystified me as well. And, the whole, male presenting Time Lord thing and the planet incel, or we only had white people in this episode. If you didn't notice that, that says something about you. All these things, right? I feel the same way as most of you do about those things. I understand that changing Doctor Who history and, taking Hartnell away from being the first Doctor is an issue. I see all these things, but all these things don't change anything. It doesn't change the fact that Chris Chibnall created a great show in Broadchurch Series 1. And it doesn't change the fact that actually Russell T Davies is still a prolific television writer, that he is a genius. Let me repeat, Russell T Davies is still a genius despite what you think of him. It's no good saying, oh, his episodes weren't so good, it was the other people's episodes that were better. Utter tripe and utter nonsense. You can't rewrite history just because you don't like what someone thinks politically. Russell T Davies has always been the same politically. He hasn't changed, but he is a genius, and his first 3 episodes of season 2 have been absolutely fantastic. They're equaling the kind of levels we had in his first era. The first episode was a lot of fun, despite the planet incel thing, right? Episode 2 was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And episode 3, The Well, is the best yet of this season. Now, we're all waiting for the other shoe to drop, of course. Next week is the Millie Gibson episode. Millie Gibson returns as Ruby Sunday. And actually, I'll be very interested to see what Mrs. Flood has to say to Ruby, because I'm assuming that's who she's going to talk to in that episode, and I'm not sure. I think that episode won't be, I think people will probably find that very, very middle of the road. Maybe the numbers will go down even further, because I don't think many people are interested in Ruby Sunday. That's a shame. That's down to RTD for dropping the ball on that character, or maybe he didn't drop the ball. Maybe he has a vision for that character. You know, maybe this is all part of his arc. Maybe that's why, you know, RTD2 season 1 was so middle of the road, because he was building up to telling his story. By the end of series 2, we'll actually know that. But as I said earlier, Russell T Davies is a genius, and he's showing it again. I have absolutely not changed my mind on second thoughts of Doctor Who, The Flood. I rewatched it. The first thing I did this morning was rewatch it to do this video, and I enjoyed it even more. The actress, the deaf actress, I think she was the performer of the episode. But then you've got the other lady who was part of that army, who sacrifices herself, who jumps in the well. I forgot the actress's name, and I'm very, very sorry about that, because your character and your performance was outstanding. Someone said on Twitter, no one's really talking about her, because I think the deaf actress, again, your name escapes me. I don't want to be calling you the deaf actress. That's not very nice, is it? But I can't remember your name. And if you carry on, if you're watching me and you watch me regularly, you'll know I'm really bad with names. I'm really bad at retaining information. It's why I'm rubbish at reviews. It's why I improvise with my Amateur Dramatic Society when we're developing my original plays that we perform for the local community. You know, I don't write any scripts. It's all ad lib. It's all that, because I can't retain any information. Anyway, I'm sure you're not interested with my issues of retaining information. But yes, it was an absolutely outstanding episode. To actually have a sequel to Midnight is amazing. And what I will do later on today, actually, and this will be another video, I'm going to watch Midnight, then The Flood, back to back. And it's interesting because you've got another actor playing the Doctor. There's no Donna. So it's an interesting thing. But this is what Doctor Who's all about. So I thought it was an absolutely fantastic episode. And that twist in the end with Mrs. Flood, you know, what she was saying to that woman was brilliant. So this I wasn't that engaged with the Mrs. Flood arc, because I felt underwhelmed by the Ruby mystery box, and I thought, I don't really care. But now I actually do care. I care who Mrs. Flood is, and could she be the Doctor? I think that's one kind of, I'm leading to her maybe being the Doctor now after seeing that, but of course she could be someone totally different. Eventually a mystery box will end up being Lorraine or Susan or Captain Jack. But I digress. I don't think that is the case this time. So yeah, this episode for me is definitely, I think it's a 10-10. I think we've had 8 10s, 9 10s last week, and this is a 10-10 episode. I think everyone's pleased with it. And, you know, everyone's talking about the actors, but what about the director who creates an environment of paranoia, because that's what the story is that RTD gives us here. But a director has to create that atmosphere of paranoia, of fear, giving into your fears, right? And it's kind of the thing where everyone lashes out at each other because they just want to survive. And it's the blame game, isn't it? It's him, it's her, it's them. And that's what RTD did with Midnight. And this is what, and this is why I think kind of the actress did so well. I'll refrain from calling her the deaf actress again, because I don't like doing that. But it's all in the eyes. And I felt, can I trust this woman? And you don't really know. Even when she goes in the lift shaft with the other soldiers, I think she's going to have them. She's going to kill them. She's still dodgy to me. But she wasn't. She's just a mother who wants to get to her daughter. And so, but you don't know. How can you trust her? And even the Doctor at times doesn't know if he can trust her. A great performance by Ncuti Gatwa. Yes, he did cry again. I think we can justify this time why he was crying, especially considering the voice said his real name. Very, very interesting. So I think we are heading to a very, very good climax of this season. But are the numbers and the amount of money that the BBC is making Doctor Who, is it enough to continue this great show? As I've said many times already, it's going to take a break next year because of Beyond the Land and Sea. I do believe what's going on the planet Earth and planet Earth not existing anymore is all to do with Beyond the Land and Sea. It's all connected, I believe. So I don't think Doctor Who's going to be cancelled. I'm sorry to the people who want it to be cancelled. I think RTD will see out his 4-year plan, then recruit another showrunner.